People often ask, why would Honda set out to build an environmentally friendly, energy-efficient home? The answer is pretty simple. Welcome back to the Honda Smart Home, where our 10-year experiment into the future of zero-net carbon living and transportation is coming to a close. Today, we're going to take one final tour through the house to talk about what we did, what worked, and what didn't. When we began planning for this house, we were looking forward to a future where everyone could have solar panels on their roof and electric vehicles in their garage. It's hard to believe today, but a decade ago, we weren't sure how or if this would come to be. And so as we imagined this electrified future, the biggest question was, as much as we love EVs and solar panels, individually they can both stress the electric grid. So how can we create this future where these technologies exist in every house, and yet they create stability for the electric grid instead of disruption? But building a sustainable home is about more than just energy. So we also focused on water, waste, the health of the occupants, and the materials themselves. We created this home to be a living laboratory so that builders, researchers, and equipment makers could take our learnings and make zero carbon living the norm. Through the years, we've had 5 sets of occupants: single people, friends, couples, and families. And all of them have helped generate data, lots of it. We have 239 channels of data that we sampled every minute. Power, temperatures, weather, water flows, and all of it is available for download on the website, as well as our drawings and specs, so you can see what we did, and hopefully build something great in the future. Our home energy management system, HEMS, is the key to generating and using renewable energy while coordinating with the electric grid. HEMS allows us to push and pull power exactly when the grid wants it, and to smooth out our power use to be a better grid citizen. One of the key design decisions that we made was to use DC, direct current coupling, for the car, the battery, and the solar panels. In fact, we originally built the machine with extra space inside so we could add even more DC circuits in case DC home appliances became popular. So how did it do? The layout functioned perfectly, but our data says it wasn't actually that much more efficient than a simpler AC system would have been. Overall, the HEMS worked great though. We made more energy than we consumed, we responded to demand response events, and we optimized our energy consumption. We had an issue once, when the grid power went out during a cloudy spell and our battery just didn't have enough energy to let the house run at full power. But as home energy management systems become more popular, and EVs get bigger batteries with bi-directional charging, this functionality is about to get much more effective. Sustainability at the smart home means water, waste, energy, health, and materials. So in our original design, we were very careful with material selection. And I'm happy to say that our interior finishes, the wood flooring, the recycled countertops have all held up beautifully. And our low carbon concrete floors still look like new 9 years after they were first polished, with no cracks outside of the control joints. Our water conservation measures saved a lot of water, but we had a few headaches along the way. In our first design, we placed the gray water filters inside the mechanical room, but ultimately we relocated them outside to deal with some odor issues. And one summer, we lost a few plants when the occupants were on vacation, and we forgot to make other arrangements when there was no gray water. The compact plumbing design is a real winner though. Everybody loves getting hot water to the showers in 10 seconds, and that saves water every day. Protecting occupant health by maintaining the indoor air quality starts with managing rainwater. Our rain screen cladding system and the rain garden landscaping have worked perfectly to keep the house dry with no chance for rot or mold. But we were surprised on several windy, rainy days when water worked its way up under the front door and around our low threshold doorway. From an energy viewpoint, before we talk about solar power, we first focus on efficiency, and standby loads are critical for a house like this. When you do the math, you realize that each watt of Vampire load adds up to over 8 kilowatt hours of energy per year, which means the energy for a full day's driving of your EV was lost. So to reduce our standby loads, we tried to automatically power down some equipment, like the audio amp. But ultimately, turning things on and off was too unreliable, and we had to abandon that. All of the major appliances are Energy Star, and most of them have worked out great. And the data shows that these ceiling fans have proven themselves to be a super efficient way to move air around. We obsessed over the details of energy efficiency, And ultimately, that became a critical part of achieving zero net energy. We wanted this house to fade into the background of everyday living, to create a space that was naturally comfortable and relaxed, that felt like home. And the lighting design was a critical part of making that a reality. We challenged the team to create something that was better in every way, not a compromise to save energy. And the starting point was this beautiful daylighting, because it just feels comfortable, and our occupants gave us high marks for that. Now the real challenge comes at night. So we chose 100% LED lighting with sophisticated controls to provide 5 different scenes at 5 times of day, all driven by motion sensing. We also provided keypads in every room to allow an easy override if the automatic scenes weren't quite perfect. And it's a good thing we did, especially in the bedrooms. We thought we had developed a good solution with a special sleep function and sensor timing, but ultimately using motion sensing in the bedrooms was not a great idea, and it's not something we recommend. Over the past decade, LED lights have gotten better and cheaper and more efficient, but our fixtures still have a lot of life left in them. And the light quality and function are still beautiful. We chose slightly warmer 2700K fixtures to respect your body's circadian rhythms, as well as those deep amber safety lights to help your eyes keep their night-adapted vision if you need to get up in the middle of the night. The lighting system is one of our favorite features, and we're going to keep it as is with only a few updates to the controls. Probably the biggest experiment here at the Smart Home has been the heating and cooling system. There is a ton going on, so let's dig in. We started with a passive design with double stud walls and a layout that minimizes the solar gains in summer, but allows for free heat in the winter. But that meant a little bit too much free heat, especially in the spring, when the exterior of our south walls gets pretty hot. According to our data, a better design would use a more reflective exterior paint and maybe increase the venting on the backside of the cladding. But everybody loves how quiet the house is because of those thick walls and the triple pane windows. Our 3-mode heat pump has worked perfectly, and the data shows it's performing exactly according to the manufacturer's specs. One of my favorite features is that when we're cooling the house, when we pull that heat out, the heat pump can push that energy straight into the hot water tank instead of just dumping it outside. One of the big questions was whether our radiant cooling system would be up to the task during the hot summers here in Davis, California. We knew that the system would have long time delays and somewhat limited capacity, but combined with our nighttime pre-cooling, the system could usually keep up. On really hot days though, we saw rapid rises in indoor air temperature, and some people found the slab to be uncomfortably cold underfoot. The radiant heating in the winter feels great, but we just weren't satisfied with the cooling performance. Perhaps the most experimental piece was how our geothermal heat pump exchanges heat with the earth, using these shallow boreholes, only 20 feet deep, but with 250 feet of tubing inside. We wanted to test if this design could provide enough capacity for the house. We actually tried 2 different types, one dry and one wetted with gray water, and they both worked pretty well. The wetted geometry gave us some trouble with leaks, but the simple dry borehole design is definitely a winner. Heating, cooling, and hot water are some of the biggest energy loads in a home, and managing them is critical to achieving a zero net energy future. As with all of our systems, please explore the website, look at the data, read the reports. We hope that our Living Lab helps you create better homes in the future.